Hola, Juan Carlos, can you hear me?
How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Good to see you. I hope everything is well.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of check in with you and see how things are. And now the volcano has calmed down and the eruption stopped already in mid-December. So it's more than 2 months ago that the eruption activity subsided. So I wanted to kind of quickly chat with you about the current situation and the big lessons that we have learned and the big things that are still in need to be done. So, Juan Carlos, what is the situation on the island from the news you are receiving and from what you hear from the other people on the islands?
Yeah, actually the eruption ended when you said, but the problem is that still the volcano is degassing.
Yes.
And there is a lot of heavy gases down in the coast where there are an important village, Puerto Naos, and another 2 small villages, and these are evacuated because people cannot live there. Actually, there are a lot of small animals and birds that have died because of suffocation, because the problem is that the large amount of CO2, which is heavier than the air, displays the air, and of course there is no oxygen, so you don't get poison, you get how you say, suffocated.
Yes, you suffocate, you don't have oxygen, so this is a problem. And is it gas that comes from the volcano and migrates down and collects there, or is it actually gas coming from the soil?
Or a combination of both.
It might be a combination of both. I was thinking, yes.
The CO2 is, you cannot smell, you cannot see because, but if we could put some blue color in these gases, you will see a sheet of gas going down the slope and concentrated close to the coast. And also, some people said that there are some small vents degassing CO2 also in the coast, probably related to lava tubes or whatever. It's very
that could well be. And yeah, we also don't know exactly how big the magma storage area is. There may be some diffuse degassing as well. So,
and the problem, Val, the problem is that according to the experience we have of prior eruption, this could take months.
Yes.
And even years. That's the problem, because I remember that Teneguía volcano, a few years after the end of the eruption, you put some paper, a newspaper in some of these vents, and it started a spontaneous combustion. So, and the same thing happened in Lanzarote. So
exactly, this is still what they use in order to, I think it's a little bit of a show for tourists, what they do in the national park. But of course, there's a true core to this, and that is that they put hay into the one of these gassing vents.
It's a show using a natural process.
Exactly, but it still means it's hot enough to kind of
cause degrees.
An immediate fire with the hay
600 degrees.
Flames.
The last time I measured with a thermocouple was 600 and some Celsius.
That's quite serious, yeah. So there will be an immediate combustion, and this will not go away. This is, of course, very bad because Puerto Naos was a lovely spot, was a lovely tourist spot. It has these dark beaches close by, and there's a lot of banana plantations down there. So
yes, Well, you remember we had a geological congress there in Puerto Naos.
Well, I was still too young for that. That was prior to my time, but I heard about the Congress there.
Yes, all right.
So it would be nice to have a Congress there again in a while, once it's safe to go there again.
That's a very good idea. That's a very good idea. We can promote some kind of World Congress in Puerto Naos when the town is recovered, just to celebrate the end of the the troubles of the volcanism.
Yes, and of course also to bring people back to the islands, bringing, in this case, geo-tourists back to the islands and bring some economy to the islands, because
any help is now very welcome.
I think so too, and this is very important. Now, there's big discussions about how things will pan out in the future. I see that several roads are being either rebuilt or being kind of in the process of being cleared, but I guess the reality is the lava field is just too vast. I think you have to just accept that it's there. Some people were hoping that the lava could be cleared, but I think it's just an enormous amount of material, and there's no way you could clear that entirely.
You know what you mean? I mean, a lava flow can be 2, 3, 4 meters thick, but the problem here is that there are several successive lava flows, and in some places it's more than 50 meters thick. This is enormous.
Up to 70 in the center, I even learned, yes.
If you have to carve through this to make a road, or either you have to go on top, I don't know. I am not an engineer, but I presume it's going to be very hard. And also, there are the problems of the bureaucracy.
Yes.
So to give the money to the people, the politicians said, okay, we have allocated several hundred millions of euros or whatever, but the people, there is a time difference between the announcement of the politician and the time when the people actually get the money.
Yes.
Because it's the bureaucratic process.
Of course.
It's understandable, but people are getting very, very upset.
I hear that as well. People are getting very impatient. They want to see immediate relief, and they hope that things can happen quickly, but these things are not so quick. And also there is issues of fairness. What has priority, what is not so important, who deserves more, or which effort deserves more. Exactly. These are complicated issues.
Anyway, I am not criticizing, because I must say again that this crisis, this volcanic crisis, has been managed far better than any other previous eruption. And also the money and the help these people are getting is very good. So, and the problem of these bureaucratic delays is because some people have not even legal papers to show that they own the land or the house that have been destroyed. So, and of course, this has to be, public money has to be.
Yes, you have to be accountable for things. And I mean, if everything was destroyed, it's very tricky. But I mean, maybe there's some entries in some of the governmental files in the Cabildo and the local government. But I mean, yeah, we also discussed this before. Some of the buildings were not always fully registered and things like that. So
there is a trick that some people use here in the Canaries. This is very common. Apparently, if you have a house and a small land, you can ask to build as a very, very small building to put the tools,
a shed.
And this is they allow you, but the problem is that the shed is expanding and ends in a house.
It's like my terrace. I can have a wooden terrace in front of my house. Just the other day, I was thinking, maybe I should use bricks, but then my wife pointed out, maybe that you need a building permit. And I go, that's a good point.
Exactly. So they avoid paying taxes, but then they don't have insurance, and then they don't have right to get compensation for the destroyed shed.
It's a bit of a dilemma, you know, because I sympathize with the people who have all these losses in their life. On the other side, this makes it very difficult for help to go to these places and go to these people that had the losses, because if some of these things were a little shaky to start with on a legal basis, then I see the problem. That's something that needs to be also tackled, because I hope that in future there will be opportunities to insure properties. But again, you need to have all the legal paperwork in order in order to be fully insured. Because insurances would be very happy to see you not having the right paperwork.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So they will be very quick in saying, no, we can't pay you. So I see that. But another thing, I mean, one of the big discussions is that a lot of people are concerned that the southern part of the island is cut off because the big road LP2 was truncated by the lava. And some people hope that there will be a quick fix to this. Yes.
Yeah, they are making a provisional
Okay.
link, so they have to avoid giving a very long turn to go, for instance, to the Los Llanos, which is a very populated, to down to the airport and Santa Cruz, the capital, etc. That was half an hour or 1 hour, and now it's a lot. It's a very long.
Well, the Funcaliente connection to Los Llanos, that's, I think, really
that
tricky.
was half an hour, and now it's more than 2 hours.
Exactly. You have to go all the way around to Santa Cruz via the airport and go through the mountains, through the Cumbre Nueva tunnel. Yeah. And it's, yeah, one of the locals told me that they're worried that businesses will kind of shy away from having partners in the south because everything will be slower, less efficient. And so there's a real worry that businesses in the south, small businesses, family businesses, they might suffer enormously and even go bankrupt because of this road being no longer available.
Yeah, it has been an eruption that have made a lot of damage in the islands, yes.
Yes. So, and then, of course, there is talk about some of the land becoming maybe a volcano park. I think that's still around. And I think the latest news I heard is that the lava platforms down at the sea, the coastal platforms, they might be something the government is thinking about making available for something like a volcano park. Do you know much about that?
Well, what I know is that after the Teneguía eruption, there was a new regulation that all the land that is, how you say, I don't know the English word, recovered from the sea.
Oh, the new land that's
land
formed, yeah,
is public property now and cannot be built. You know what I mean? And this would be a good opportunity to make a volcano park.
Yes, I think so.
With some views and miradores, etc., to show as a touristic attraction. And also the very difficult parts that cannot be planted or even build houses. And the third issue would be the lava tubes. If they can, how you say, get a lava tube with a very good, how you say, length that can be visited, that would be another nice attraction, like in Lanzarote, which is visited by millions.
Of course, but then there's the issue that the lava, of course, was flowing over land that was owned by people. And some of the people, they still have the right to their land, even if their property was destroyed. So whoever wants to do that would actually have to buy the land from the people.
I don't know, because if the land, the people that own a land, even if it has been covered by lava, still they own the land.
Yes,
but exactly. I don't know if this is 20 meters deep. I don't know. I am not a lawyer. But anyway, you can make some kind of arrangements.
I don't know. My simple impression is that you know the land until all the way to the earth core.
Absolutely. Here in Tenerife, here in Tenerife, you know that there is also a very nice lava tube. We were there. The Icod de los Vinos lava tube. Cueva del Viento is called, the Cave of the Winds.
The Cave of the Winds.
And that is very nice, and now it's visited by people, and it's a very nice attraction. And there are houses above the lava tube, but still the lava tube is
on the ground. Yeah. That's a possibility. That's right. So
there will be an opportunity, yes.
Hopefully. What about the people who lost their properties? What about, there must be families that lost their houses, and this is now in the middle of the lava field. What about those people?
Well, actually, all the how you say, the flats that were on rent have been allocated to these people. Also, they are building, how you say, these wooden houses.
Okay.
As a provisional thing until they actually can build a proper accommodation for these people. But you know, in the first stage, most of the people were in hotels. Actually, we were in the same hotel with a lot of people that were evacuees.
Indeed.
Exactly.
Yes. this was a very mixed group there with refugees and also visiting fire brigade staff from the mainland. Pardon?
Fire brigades people and policemen and
yes, and us, the scientists, and it made for some very interesting dinner conversations, I recall. So, yeah, it's a tricky kind of situation for those people, but at least it seems that there is now shelters, not just in a provisional way, but actually they're building something that's a bit more long-term now. So hopefully that's okay, because living in a hotel, it sounds glamorous on the first kind of thought,
for a weekend.
Exactly, but it's not a place to live for a longer time. It's not good. So you need something else to kind of, you know, have privacy and to be able to spread your legs.
And starting to make funny comparisons with the film of the Shine. You remember?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to live in a hotel. You need to let your hair down every now and then, and the hotel is not the place for that. So,
yeah.
And okay, Grant, good. And then I guess in the long run, do you think that there will now be a new phenomenon? Because some people are hopeful that the volcano will, in the long run, attract a lot more tourists. They will kind of start volcano tourism in the widest sense.
Oh yeah, they have started. I am talking cheerfully because I am very optimistic about the things, the way things are going. Actually, there is starting some kind of tourism. The island has been known all over the world with this eruption. So in the long run, we all knew that this is going to be positive in the long run. And once the people that have suffered the damages are compensated and have new houses and start living again in a good condition, everything will be positive. For the island that is bigger now, for us that we have to make new maps, and for the people that have some more touristic attraction of the volcanic type.
I was very curious. I was looking at the map the other day, and I was trying to retrace my steps when I went to the crater to sample the sulfur. And I realized that there may be an opportunity for a hiking trail,
yes,
a much easier one than the route I have taken, because there is an old hiking trail and it gets reasonably close. It's now covered with ash, but you can clean it up. It gets you reasonably close to the craters from the east side. So it's a somewhat longer hike, but I actually think people would enjoy that once the sulfur degassing has subsided a little more.
But not only for that, you need to make a special itineraries first to prevent people to destroy, because if you don't mark the path, people will go in all the direction and they will destroy
They will not just destroy the geology, there's also risk that you fall into craters and things like that. So.
The second thing is you can address people to the places that are safe.
Yes.
And avoid the places where are dangerous.
So maybe that's something for the likes of us to think a little bit more about, to kind of help with designing some of these guided tours, or at least some leaflets that allow people to kind of follow a guided tour.
Absolutely. I will be delighted collaborating in making these maps and itineraries and whatever.
Good. That sounds exciting, actually. This is something where we can help the islanders and the island and the island's economy in the future. I think this is a good thing. Great. Anything else on your mind that you think is relevant for the future of La Palma?
This can develop in any... The important thing is to try to understand what is going to happen that we don't expect, because what we can expect is more or less feasible. But the problem is, I don't know. Never in the history of the Canary Islands an eruption of this magnitude had happened. So yes, sorry, I said again. Only the Lanzarote eruption that started in 1730 and last 6 years was enough to make the most of the people of Lanzarote go to the other island, the neighboring island of Fuerteventura. And only a small amount of people were kept in the island to prevent the pirates to get hold of the island. So I don't know. It's difficult to say, but
it's
now
difficult to say, but
in modern times and with economical resources, I think I am positive. I think in 5 or 10 years, everything will be back to normal.
I point out that during the 1730-36 eruption on Lanzarote, this was, of course, a big disaster at the time, but in the decades afterwards, it actually brought a flowering economically to the island, because suddenly they learned how to use the ash for putting it on the fields, and suddenly they could grow a lot more crops because the ash keeps the moisture and fertilizes the fields, and suddenly they were growing wine and everything. There was a doubling of the population in the decades after the eruption on Lanzarote. And my hope is that the somewhat negative attitude that a lot of people have quite naturally developed towards the volcano on La Palma will hopefully shift over the next years towards a more positive interaction with the volcano, that the volcano becomes a source of tourism, a source of income, a source
of new opportunity for the island.
Yes, that it brings opportunities, and that the ash can be used making, helping with making concrete for new buildings, and maybe as aggregates in the roads, that people are actually driving on the volcano, so to speak, and that this will help in the future. But let's see. I mean, people, of course, are naturally a bit adverse about the volcano, the local people.
It's a shock.
It's a shock. And I think it will take a little bit of time for people to kind of turn around and say, well, it is a volcanic island. We have to accept the volcano is there, and we have to now make the best and work with the volcano. And
yeah, what is irrational, Val, is that some people are hating the volcano, and this is absurd, because this is a natural process that that is necessary to keep the island, because there is always a how you say, a fight between the erosion that try to mass wasting the entire island and volcanic construction. And in the islands that are the erosion is winning, like Lanzarote and Fuerteventura, they are very flat and very desertic. Whereas in La Palma and El Hierro and even Tenerife, that are construction is still gaining, well, there are, how you say, very, very nice island to live. Also Fuerteventura, but the problems of resources in Fuerteventura are enormous. There are no water, very little land.
This is very important. It's an interesting point you just raised there, because there is this human issue that we personify things.
Yeah.
That we see a face in the moon, we kind of personify things. It makes it easier for us to grasp, and it's easy to personify the volcano as if the volcano did something bad, and it's a bad volcano. This is tricky from a scientific point of view, because as you say, a volcano is a volcano, and without the volcano there would be an island. So
you know that the Guanches already invented this, because the volcano for them was a demon. It was called Guayota. Yes. The Guayota was the demon that make the volcanoes to kill people, and so they hate this personal, or whatever you say, the Guayota. People that go to Lanzarote will see in the 1730 park, they will see a demon made by Cesar Manrique. This is the Guayota.
This is the Guayota. How do you say it? Guayota, okay. I actually have a picture of him. Let me see whether I can find this now. So,
this was designed by this famous Cesar Manrique, a painter of Lanzarote.
Yes. 1 second, I'll just bring it up.
So there is nothing new on the world. Everything has been already invented.
There's nothing new, you say?
Nothing new under the sky.
So I have it now. 1 second. Sorry, it took me a second to get it up. So this is the image, and this is
Oh,
the
yeah, exactly.
Fire National Park, and this is the devil that Cesar Manrique, and he is
Guayota.
basing this on the Guanxi devil inside the volcanoes. I
Yeah.
had no idea. This is exciting.
Particularly in Teide, because the Teide happened to have very frequent eruption, very destructive during the Guanche time, before the colonization of the island by the Europeans. So they invented the term Guayota, that actually the house of Guayota was under the Teide, the same that Pele in Hawaii also was in the.
Wow, this is very exciting. So, well, let's just hope the people of La Palma will kind of think of the volcano, the new volcano, in a more positive way in the long run, and not look at it as a negative kind of expression.
Or they can make another thing. They can see the devil of the volcano of La Palma and invent a different name and make a Palma Guayota.
Let's see about that. Okay, but this is wonderful. Thank you, Juan Carlos, for the update. This was very useful, I think. And let's see how things develop. We can report back in a little while, but it'll take a little bit of time for people to adjust to the new situation, I think. So we can report back in a few weeks or month, and we'll see how things are developing. Thanks a million, and all the very best.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye. Bye-bye. Bye.